Wishes you a pleasant listening experience. My husband told me to quit my job and stay home to take care of his ex-girlfriend. I did not agree, so he decided to bring his first love home. He let her stay in the master bedroom and made me move to the storage room. When I questioned him, he became impatient. Nana is weak and can't endure hardship like you. Be understanding and don't make things difficult for me. Later, he knelt down and begged me to come back. I put my arm around my younger boyfriend and calmly told him, "You should be a little more understanding." On my birthday, I came home and saw another woman in the living room. She was wearing my 2-second nightgown, sitting close to my husband Tran Hien on the sofa watching TV. The two of them were stuck together, their arms and legs intertwined, with no space between them. Seeing me, Tran Hien jumped as if he had been electrocuted. His eyes were briefly panicked, but he quickly regained his composure. "Chu Vai, this is my ex-girlfriend. No, my friend." He pointed at the girl next to him, his voice a bit forced. "She came to stay for a few days." I frowned slightly. Seeing her discomfort being seen by Chu Na, she immediately held back her tears. "I'll move out, I don't want to bother you too. Sister-in-law, don't be angry." That pitiful and weak look made Tran Hien feel heartbroken. He stood in front of her, frowning at me. "Nana just had surgery and no one was taking care of her. What if she stays at my house for a few days? Can you stop being so unreasonable?" I calmly replied. I didn't say anything. Tran Hien was a little stunned. I didn't care about him anymore, turned around and went into the master bedroom. As soon as I opened the door, my steps faltered. All traces of me had disappeared. Even the wedding photo of me and Tran Hien on the bedside table had been replaced with Chu Na's personal photo. The heat rushed to my shirt. I clenched my fists, intending to turn back to ask for the reason when Tran Hien's voice rang out behind me. Nana's body was weak. The master bedroom had a lot of sunlight, good for recovery. I tried to control my anger. "What about me? Where do I sleep?" He avoided my eyes and coughed lightly. "If you don't want to take care of Nana, let me take care of her. The spare bedroom is closer, convenient for taking care of her, but with Nana there, it's not convenient for us to sleep together. I'll stay in the storage room for a few days, wait until Nana gets better, then we'll decide." I was so angry that I burst out laughing. Let my ex sleep in the main room, and leave my wife in the storage room. "Tran Hien, you are a genius." He rubbed his forehead, his voice clearly showing his discomfort. "I told you Nana just had surgery, I can't let her sleep poorly. I paid for her to stay at a hotel." No, Tran Hien immediately refused. She was sick, how could she stay at a hotel? He sighed, his voice softening a bit. "Be a little more understanding, don't make it difficult for me." I nodded. Okay, then I'll go to the hotel." I pulled out my suitcase and started throwing my clothes in. "Do you really have to make such a big deal out of it?" Tran Hien suddenly got angry. The small storage room was small, but spreading a few blankets on the floor would be enough to sleep. "How about you endure it for a few days?" Chuna stood beside me with red eyes, apologizing. "It was my fault. Why don't you move out? Don't let the two of you argue over me anymore." Tran Hien immediately shielded her, his eyes looking at me with obvious disgust. "Don't pay attention to her. If she wants to leave, let her go." Right at that moment, the doorbell rang. The birthday cake I ordered arrived. Tran Hien's expression froze, as if he had just remembered what day it was. He opened his mouth to say something. Fan, brother." I didn't even bother to look at him, my face expressionless. I picked up my suitcase and the birthday cake and left the house. Tran Hien hurriedly ran after her. The next second, Chuna's weak cry came from inside the house. "Oh Hien, my incision hurts." Without hesitation, Tran Hien turned and ran inside. My heart grew colder and colder. By the time I finished the procedure to extend my stay at the hotel, the anger in my heart had not subsided. I really couldn't believe that Tran Hien could do such a thing. Last week, when he learned that Chuna had just had an appendectomy, he asked me to go to the hospital to take care of her. The reason was that Nana had a weak personality, and he was afraid that the nurses would bully her. Anyway, I'm working early, so I'll help out a little when I have some free time. Hearing that made me angry, but I still tried to hold back, explaining that I had just received a new project and needed to work overtime. As a result, Tran Hien told me to quit, saying that since I was planning to change jobs anyway, I might as well take this opportunity to quit. Of course I didn't agree. He immediately got angry, scolded me for being heartless and cold, and said that if I was the one who was sick, Chuna would definitely be willing to help. I couldn't stand it anymore, argued with him, and moved to a hotel to stay temporarily. For the whole week, Tran Hien didn't call me once. Until today, my birthday, I received a call from the shipper, delivering the birthday gift he ordered in advance. My heart softened. Remembering the good things in the past, I thought maybe I should give both of us a chance, also giving each other a step to get back together. Who would have thought I would encounter such a scene? I opened the box mechanically and cut off a piece to try. The ice cream melted on the tip of my tongue. The sweetness turned bitter when swallowed. I lay awake all night in the hotel, eyes open until morning. The phone screen was still silent. Not a single missed call. No messages. I opened Tran Hien's personal page, hoping to see something related to me. In previous years, every time my birthday came around, he would post a solution on social media. Write about our memories, write about his love for me, send sweet wishes. We've been together for 7 years, never a year without one. Like this year, his timeline stopped last month, taking a photo of a bouquet of flowers. At that time, I thought it was a surprise for me, happily commented with a heart icon, anxiously waiting for him to come home. But he came home in the middle of the night, empty-handed? Said the flowers were for an old classmate who had just returned home. Now thinking back, the scent of perfume wafting from his shirt that day was so familiar. Exactly the same scent I smelled on Chuna yesterday. And from that day on, Tran Hien suddenly became unusually busy. Working overtime at night, socializing, studying on weekends. We hadn't sat down to eat a meal, talked, or watched a movie together in a month. I looked back at the photo of the bouquet, held the screen still, and scanned it with an image recognition app. It was Lily of the Valley. Meaning happiness knocked on the door again. I cursed in my heart, what the hell is happiness? A sleepless night plus a fever of anger. My whole body was hot, my temples were throbbing. The fever made everything in front of my eyes blurred. But my memories were clearer than ever. 7 years ago, I sat on a bench in front of the hospital gate, holding a piece of paper with a diagnosis of severe depression, lifelessly letting the heavy rain drench me. It was then that the true kindness appeared. He held an umbrella for me, sitting quietly beside me all afternoon. From that moment on, in the dark, damp, and gloomy corner of my heart, a ray of light suddenly entered. He used to hide in the crowd to sing off-key love songs for me. Those rings glued together the pieces of broken glass I smashed when I was depressed, like assembling a piece of art. They pulled me out of my shell when I wanted to hide from the world. Fan, you have to speak out, cry, scream, don't keep it bottled up inside like that. Don't cry, baby, I'm feverish. He's passionate, sincere, good at expressing emotions, something I've always longed for but never had. Tran Hien walked straight into my life, saying he would love me forever. But now that love seems to have left. Perhaps the more intense the love, the more cruel and unexpected it is when it is lost. In a day, 7 years of love flashed through my mind like a movie in reverse. I opened my eyes, my face was wet with tears. As soon as I turned on my phone, dozens of missed calls immediately appeared on the screen. In addition to the dozen or so calls from Tran Hien, there were also 30 calls from my mother. My heart sank and I quickly called my mother back. As soon as I picked up the phone, my mother's voice was so sensitive that she almost cried. Fan, you scared me to death. Tran said that you two had an argument and asked me to advise you, but I kept calling you and you didn't answer. I couldn't sleep all night. Husband and wife are angry at each other, they argue at the head of the bed, but make up at the end of the bed, don't be so stubborn. I took a deep breath, I know, Mom. Hang up, I texted Tran Hien our business, don't drag my mom into it. Right after that, the phone rang. Honey, you finally answered me. You turned off your phone all day and I was so worried. His voice was full of worry, as if he was still the same loving husband as before. Don't be angry anymore, wife, it's my fault. Can I come pick you up and take you home? I was about to refuse when a message from my mother popped up on the screen. Husband and wife don't have any grudges. Don't be so stubborn, talk things out slowly. I sighed, not wanting my mother to worry anymore, so I softened and sent the hotel address to Tran Hien. Knowing that I had a fever, Tran Hien stopped by the pharmacy to buy fever-reducing medicine, then lined up to buy a wonton at my favorite shop. The way he gently placed his hand on my forehead was so caring that I almost wanted to believe that it was all just a misunderstanding. But as soon as I stepped into the house, the sight before me immediately sobered me up. Chuna was standing in the living room. The white dress she was wearing caught my eye. It was the dress Tran Hien gave me on our wedding anniversary last year. The 5-figure dress that I treasured so much that I never wore it, and kept it deep in my closet. I even told him that this dress should be reserved for a very special occasion. But Tran Hien, do you know how much I cherish her? Cough, cough, cough. I was so angry that I coughed continuously. Tran Hien quickly ran over to support me. I shook his hand away, my voice trembling with anger. What right did he have to let her wear my dress? Chuna immediately hid behind Tran Hien, cooing and apologizing. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Why am I being so fierce with her? Tran Hien is protecting her, and is keeping an eye on me. It's just a dress. What if Nana borrows it to wear for a bit? I turned around to leave, but he stopped me. The company suddenly sent me on a business trip for a few days, and she stayed home to take care of Nana for me. My body was burning with fever, but my heart felt as if it was soaked in ice water. It turned out that this was the real reason he picked me up. Tran Hien, I took a deep breath, holding on to the last ray of hope, emphasizing each word. I have a fever, I'm very uncomfortable, I can't take care of others. Tran Hien was silent for 2 seconds, then laughed coldly, knowing right away that I couldn't rely on her. It's just a fever, I bought you some medicine, you'll be fine after taking it. Nana just had surgery, she needs more care. It's okay if you help a little, why do you have to push her around like that? I really don't understand how you became like this, so insensitive and unkind. Every word of reproach was directed at me, without any concern for my feelings or health. He didn't ask her to do anything disgusting, he added irritably, just cook a few meals. Nana isn't used to eating out, just cook her some light dishes. Hien, I'm hungry. Poor Chuna pulled Tran Hien's sleeve. His face softened immediately, then he ordered me. Okay, stop being okay. Go cook some porridge, Nana's stomach is weak, she has to eat on time. I was so angry that I pushed him away and ran out of the house. This time Tran Hien didn't call me to beg me to come back. I forced myself not to think about how things had progressed between him and Chuna, but the news kept coming. Tran Hien's assistant, Tu Lam, suddenly sent me a message. Sister Fan Fan, I think I should tell you something. She said that Tran Hien brought Chuna along on this business trip. Tu Lam timidly added, Brother Hien said that the other woman was sick and had no one to take care of her, so he brought her along. He was being nice, he probably didn't mean anything else. But I still felt like I should let you know. I was still staring at my phone when suddenly a new friend request popped up. The profile picture was Chuna's innocent bunny face. I didn't know why I clicked accept, but less than a few minutes later I saw her post a new status. A bowl of porridge with the caption, someone was late for a meeting just to buy me porridge, is that really happy? The scene was painfully familiar. When I was hospitalized for acute gastritis, Tran Hien had also skipped an important training session just to bring me food. I scolded him for being irresponsible, but he said proudly, his wife was sick, if he wasn't there, how could he still be human? Back then, when he held the bowl of porridge in his hand, there was only me in his eyes. The memory was like a dull knife, slowly cutting into my heart, piece by piece. Tran Hien's love is also brilliant, intense, like a summer shower, coming quickly and stopping just as quickly. He can love someone with all his heart and soul, but it seems he can't love someone to the point of choosing his life. That is completely opposite to the love I always wanted. I remember when I was young, after my mother finished the divorce proceedings, she hugged me and cried, saying that her daughter must have a complete home in the future. All these years I tried to patch up the tears in my childhood, longing for a relationship that would last a lifetime. But at this moment, for the first time, I began to doubt that belief. I decided to go home to pack my things, then move out to rent a place of my own. When I opened the door, the messy scene inside shocked me. The wardrobe was wide open. Everything I had neatly arranged was now in disarray. My favorite dresses were gone, except for a few hangers. The jewelry box was thrown haphazardly on top of the clothes. Necklaces and bracelets were thrown together. My most precious pair of jade earrings were gone. My hands were shaking. I called Tran Hien, what about your clothes and jewelry? Oh, Nana is short on clothes, so she borrowed a few of yours to wear. He answered straightforwardly. His tone was as if it was nothing serious. He would return them to you later. Borrowed, my voice was shaking with anger. Taking them without asking is stealing. Moreover, why are you rummaging around like this? You know I hate it when someone touches my stuff? From the other end of the line, Chuna's voice gently rang out. Is sister-in-law angry with me again? Then came the sound of intermittent, scattered crying. It has nothing to do with me. After Tran Hien comforted her, he immediately turned to yell at me, his voice cold as ice. I'm sorry, you're going too far. It's just a little messy. Nana is not in good health and can't do housework. How can I be above anyone by cleaning up after myself? Why am I being so petty and selfish now? Come on, calm down. The call was cut off roughly. I gripped the phone tightly, my nails digging into my palms until they bled. The vanity mirror reflected my pale face, and the double bed behind me that had once held so much sweetness and love. I quietly stuffed the rest of my clothes into the suitcase. As I zipped it up, a thought that had never occurred to me before suddenly came to mind. After the divorce, I dragged my suitcase back to my mother's house. You came back so suddenly, I was so worried. As soon as my mother saw the luggage, she quickly grabbed my hand and asked worriedly, Did you and Tran Hien have an argument? Husband and wife living together must learn to be patient to last long. It's nothing, Mom, I just miss you. I tried to force a smile. Tran Hien was on a business trip, so I came to visit my mother for a few days and then came back. Only then did my mother feel relieved. My heart felt like a heavy rock. I quickly found a short-term rental apartment, then said goodbye to my mother and left. Just as I finished cleaning the apartment, my phone suddenly received a notification. A message from Chuna. She sent me a photo. Tran Hien was half naked. She was leaning against his shoulder, almost exposed. The pose was extremely intimate. The photo only lasted for a minute before it was taken down, but I managed to take a screenshot. I stared at the photo for a long time, then transferred a small amount to Shaolin, asking her to help monitor Chan Xian, and to send me any news immediately. That year, her mother was seriously ill, and I had paid for the hospital bills, so this time she agreed without hesitation. That night, Shaolin sent me a video. Chuna, wearing sexy pajamas, walked sideways into Tran Hien's room. Strangely, when I saw that scene, I didn't feel as heartbroken as I thought. I saved the video, then opened the chat window with Tan Fong. He was a young lawyer I met while volunteering, very trustworthy. When I asked him out to dinner, he was surprised as if he had just won the lottery. Oh my God, what an honor I had. I laughed, then frankly said I was getting a divorce. There are some things I need to ask the lawyer, of course I have to be sincere. Unsure, after a few seconds of silence, Tan Fong replied in a low voice, with me here, I will not let you suffer. The day we had dinner together, Tran Hien called me. Where are you? His voice was a bit panicked. The wardrobe was empty, and my cosmetics were nowhere to be found. I put on lipstick, drawing a perfect curve on my lips, and looked at myself in the mirror. The house is too small, I'm going out for a few days. The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds. Then Tran Hien's voice softened. So I'm at a disadvantage. Wait for Nana to recover, I will find a house for her. I just gave a cold hum and then resolutely hung up. The French restaurant in the afternoon was brightly lit. From afar, I saw the tall figure of Tan Fong looking around for me at the door. Today he was dressed very neatly. When he saw me, his eyes lit up and he waved his hand excitedly like a big dog wagging its tail. After ordering, I opened the photo album on my phone and pushed it in front of him. Tan Fong's expression gradually froze, his fingers tapping lightly on the table. Overall, the evidence was not strong enough. If they divorced right away, she wouldn't get much. But if you want a divorce, then just do it. There's no need to continue to endure it for a little money. After saying that, he pulled out a card from his jacket and pushed it to me. You can keep this 500 million for now, you don't need to pay it back. Consider me continuing to volunteer. I choked on my wine and spat it out. I quickly pushed the card back, firmly refusing his good intentions. I decided to collect more evidence of the affair before officially filing for divorce. Tan Fong nodded, his voice warm. No matter what you choose, I will always stand by you. Thank you. We raised our glasses, the clinking sound echoing in the pot. At that moment, the smile on my lips froze. Through the transparent glass, I saw two familiar figures. Tran Hien was attentively pulling out a chair for Chuna. In front of them was a meal for a couple, and when the waiter brought napkins, he praised them. His wife is so beautiful. Tran Hien just smiled and said nothing. Chuna acted spoiled and joked. Thanks, my husband has good eyes. I unconsciously used my fingernail to scratch a line on the side of the glass. At that moment, Tran Hien suddenly turned his head. Their eyes met. His face instantly turned pale. Chuna's lips curled up into a triumphant smile. What's wrong? Tan Fong gently noticed my abnormality. It's okay, I put down my glass of wine, my voice so calm that it surprised even myself. Let's go. Just as I stood up, Tran Hien suddenly rushed over. He grabbed my wrist. Honey, let me take you home. His fingers were cold, still gently rubbing. Tan Fong spoke up at the right time, his face full of confusion. Oh, uncle, just now that woman called you husband. Who is your wife, anyway? His voice wasn't too loud, but it was loud enough for everyone at the surrounding tables to hear. Tran Hien's face immediately turned pale. I gently withdrew my hand, nodded to Tan Fong, and asked him to take me home. My honor. Tan Fong smiled innocently. As the car started moving, I saw Tran Hien running behind through the rearview mirror, his eyes never leaving the car for a second. His figure in the mirror became smaller and smaller, until it was just a blurry black dot in the night. As soon as he entered the house, the phone rang. It was Tran Hien. Honey, don't misunderstand what happened today. His voice tried to be gentle. Nana calling me husband was just a joke, don't mind it. I kept quiet. 2 seconds later, the other end of the line also fell silent. Tran Hien cautiously asked, where are you? I'll come pick you up and take you home. Wait until Chuna is completely healed. I replied coldly. She's fine. Tran Hien immediately replied. I have also found a new place for her. She will move tomorrow. Let's continue tomorrow. Without waiting for him to say anything, I decisively hung up. Less than 2 minutes after I put down my phone, the screen lit up again. This time it was an unknown number. What right does she have to chase me away? Chuna's sour voice seemed to pierce straight into my ears. This is a Hien's house. Whoever he wants to stay can stay. I really look down on you. On the surface you pretend to be pitiful, but behind your back you are now using low-level tricks. A Hien has told me everything. She laughed coldly, unable to hide the bitterness in her words. She was depressed, right? A mentally ill person got married? That was a scam. A Hien only married her because he was soft-hearted. He never loved her. He told me living with her. Boring to death, really? I laughed coldly, my voice sharp as a knife. But to beg me to come back, he was willing to kick her out of the house. After saying that, I hung up the phone. The phone screen went dark. The room was eerily silent. I sat there staring out the window at the darkness. My chest ached, as if something was silently breaking. Tran Hien had actually told Chuna about my depression. He had clearly said before that he was afraid that others would look at me with discriminatory eyes. He was determined to keep this a secret, and even forbade others from mentioning it for fear of upsetting me. The phone lit up again, a new message appeared. Chuna, don't be so complacent. We'll see. Chuna posted a long post on social media, accusing me of using depression to blackmail, trick me into getting married, fabricating stories about me being moody, two-faced, and fake. And she and Tran Hien were the true love who were forced to separate because of me, who always threatened to commit suicide whenever I objected. The article quickly went viral. The comments section was filled with sympathy for Chuna and harsh criticism directed at me. Under her unintentional guidance, netizens quickly found my social media account. My private messages were immediately filled with curses from strangers. Tran Hien called me, sorry teacher Chuna. Nana is still young, don't wish her well. I will tell her to delete the post. Then he hesitated and added, she was afraid that I would abandon her. That's why she did that. I'm going to let her stay at home for a few more days, wife. I hung up the phone, not wanting to listen to his bullshit anymore. There was nothing worth softening my heart for anymore. When public opinion reached its peak, I immediately released the recording of Chuna's call along with a series of messages cursing me in the middle of the night in the past few days. She took it back after cursing, but I took a picture of it all. Public opinion immediately changed. Less than 24 hours later, she was cursed by netizens to the point of having to delete her account and retreat in disgrace. 3 days later, Tran Hien came to me, looking at me with a reproachful tone. Nana was already weak, And now she had to be hospitalized. If you make such a big deal out of this, how will she have the face to live in the future? I clenched my fists, my fingertips cold. So when she got into trouble online, have you ever thought about how I would live? He didn't mean that. His voice dropped. Wife, be generous, post an explanation. Just say it was a misunderstanding. I was completely devastated. I pulled the divorce agreement out of my pocket, slammed it down on the table and signed it. Tran Hien's face changed completely. He grabbed my hand. Wife, calm down. I was very calm. I pushed his hand away. Tran Hien, I gave you a chance. My mother came. She sat on the sofa in my rented apartment, her fingers twisting and fidgeting with her shirt, looking confused and restless. That girl had moved out, and Tran Hien also said he knew his mistake. I quietly peeled the fruit, not looking up. My mother sighed, husband and wife living together. Nothing is perfect without bumps. If something happens, just close your eyes and let it go. I finally raised my head and stopped moving. Mom, this is not a small matter. I know I have suffered a lot. My mother's voice suddenly became gentle, her eyes starting to redden. I only ask one thing from you, don't be like me back then. I was too stubborn back then, couldn't stand a grain of sand in my eyes, and insisted on divorcing your father. In the end, he and that woman were the ones who made me suffer so much. Mom's voice softened, thinking back now. If only she had been a little more patient back then, maybe. Mom, but things are different now. Nowadays, divorce is normal. My mother shook her head. It's easy to say, but when you actually get divorced, you will understand. Even if no one says anything on the surface, how can you know how they laugh behind your back? She held my hand. You are divorced at this age and still want to find a decent man. It's hard, my child. Mom is an experienced person, listen to me, okay? I looked at my mother's hand, full of wrinkles and calluses, and was silent for a while. Okay, Mom will personally take me home. Before leaving, she held Tran Hien's hand tightly and gave him some instructions. The little girl was stubborn, so you have to be more patient with her. Tran Hien bowed his head and nodded repeatedly, saying yes, yes. His sincerity couldn't be any more fake. That night, he left his phone on the coffee table without locking the screen. On the WeChat screen, the conversation between him and Chuna was clearly displayed. Chun Xian, let's wait and see about the divorce. True Fan was depressed. He was afraid she would think of something stupid. Besides, if we got divorced now, it would be no different from confirming that she was the mistress, and it would have a bad influence on her. Even though I no longer had any expectations from him, those words still stabbed my heart like a knife. I mechanically scrolled through my phone, then suddenly saw a dazzling message from Chuna. You've worked hard, honey, having to be with a crazy woman every day, it must be tiring. Tran Hien replied with a forced smile sticker. I continued to scroll up the screen. The more I read, the more chills ran down my spine. It turned out that since last month when Chuna returned to the country, the two of them had started a series of intimate text messages that lasted all day and night. From keeping a distance, Tran Hien gradually changed to caring for her, and finally to intimate complaints. She always smells of grease, unlike you. Even the tips of her hair smell of tea. Divorce, I don't dare think about it. She is depressed because of her family, very sick. Many nights I wake up to see her crying alone in bed, very stressful. If he mentioned divorce, he was afraid she would think it was a joke. When they first started dating, he thought she was quiet and cute. Now she has a cold face every day. And after living with her for a long time, it's getting boring. Unlike you, much happier and more lively. Chuna didn't even know when he had secretly taken a picture of me doing housework with disheveled hair, then sarcastically said, "That's the maid you hired." Tran Hien smiled back with a haha symbol. Each message was silently turned off. Ironically, the two of them were still sitting there reminiscing about the past. Chuna, if only we weren't so stubborn back then, it would have been good. Tran Hien, well, he was still young then, if there was a future. The sentence was left unfinished, leaving behind a lot of ambiguity. I stared at the screen, not knowing why I felt strangely calm. It turns out that when a person is heartbroken to the core, the pain also turns into numbness. I picked up my phone, took screenshots, and recorded all the chats. Then send it all to the maid. I want a divorce. Immediately. When Tran Hien came out of the bathroom, I had already cleaned up all traces of myself in this house. He was wiping his wet hair and smiling as he walked towards me. Honey, it's been a while since we kissed. Before he could finish his sentence, Tran Hien's footsteps stopped. His eyes were fixed on the wedding photo that had been cut in half. His voice trembled. What are you doing? I calmly looked at him. That face is still as young and handsome as the first time we met 7 years ago. Tran Hien, let's get a divorce. No divorce. Tran Hien's eyes turned red. He threw the towel down, bent down and squeezed my shoulder, gritted his teeth and said, he did not agree to the divorce. I looked straight into his eyes, filled with panic, fear and regret, as if he was really afraid of losing me. But thinking about it, he must have used such loving eyes in front of Chuna. I gave him the phone with the screen still on. He forgot to turn it off. Seeing the content of the message on it, Tran Hien's face immediately turned pale. You saw it all? Fan, listen to my explanation. Those words were just my nonsense, they didn't mean anything. Let's sign, Tran Hien. I put the divorce agreement on the table, my voice even, don't worry, I'm not thinking of anything stupid. Tran Hien stood there, his face getting paler and paler. His mouth moved, his voice dry, I didn't mean it like that. I put the pen in his hand and signed it. Suddenly, Tran Hien threw the pen away and shouted, not signing. He did not want a divorce. My voice dropped, Tran Hien, don't force me to go to court. Are you going to sue me? Tran Hien looked at me with wide eyes in disbelief. How could you bear to treat me like that? I'm having an affair, Tran Hien. I didn't. He yelled, it was just a momentary mistake. All men are like that. I still love you, you can't divorce me. I was starting to feel tired. I put my hand on the sofa to get up, but my hand touched a bunch of fabric. It was women's underwear. There was a used condom stuck on the keychain. Chun Xian's face instantly froze. His mouth opened as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he couldn't utter a word. I went to the bathroom, washed my hands several times, and wiped each finger with a disinfectant wipe. Finally, I pulled up the suitcase. Sign it. Let's go our separate ways, don't embarrass each other. As I turned the doorknob, Tran Hien suddenly rushed in front of me. Why are you so stubborn? He shouted in panic. Do you know what I hate the most about this look of yours? Do you know why I fell in love with you at first? Because that day you stood in the rain, looking both pitiful and weak, making me want to protect you for the rest of my life. But why can't you stay weak like this forever? Why do you have to cry alone? Why can't you cry in my arms? You can completely rely on me. Why do you have to act so strong? Why can't you learn from Nana, acting like you can't live without me? I'm your husband, why can't you obediently depend on me? I can't feel that you need me, so I've lost the feeling of wanting to protect you. That's why I was so shaken, that I wanted to protect another woman. But I still love you, wife. I looked at the man I once loved deeply, suddenly feeling very strange. Tran Hien, I advise you to see a doctor. You are sicker than me. I'm leaving. Tran Hien ran to my mother to ask her to be the mediator. I didn't say much, just showed her the evidence of his adultery. After reading it, my mother was silent for a long time, finally just sighed. Get a divorce, I support you. Take a break, I'll continue. If you can't live with it anymore, get a divorce. Times are different now, divorce is no big deal. Even if I live alone in the future, it will be fine, as long as I have my mother by my side. My nose was sore and I had to try very hard not to cry. When Tran Hien texted me again, his tone was no longer pretending to be gentle, but full of anger. What did you say to your mother? Why did she scold you so badly? I suddenly wanted to laugh. If you still don't sign, I will scold you the same way. Tran Hien was really mad. How long are you going to do it? Why do you have to do everything so deliberately? Who was there for you when you were having a hard time? You were depressed, did I ever complain? And yet you can't be a little tolerant of me? Tran Hien, I interrupted him. Calm down, I thought I couldn't be disappointed in you anymore. He was silent for a few seconds, his voice lowered. Why can't you be a little more like Chuna? Be gentle and tolerant with me. I can't learn. I said coldly, divorce me, you marry her. Okay, let's divorce. Tran Hien gritted his teeth and said, don't regret it. After the divorce, Tran Hien immediately moved in with Chuna. Chuna was holding hands on the story, slowly picking up the words, going around and around. In the end it was still him. My mutual friends and Tran Hien knew about the divorce, hurriedly texted to ask what happened. I just replied, I can't live anymore. Then I said nothing more. I didn't want to drag it out any longer, but they wouldn't let me go. A month after the divorce, My social media messages were spammed until the day of my funeral. Chuna suddenly posted an article to clear her name as a mistress. She even posted my severe depression diagnosis, wrote someone said I defamed that woman, and showed everyone the evidence. She was the one who used this paper, threatened with death, forced him to leave me, and used 7 years of marriage to imprison the man I loved. Now that he is finally divorced, completely free from that suffocating prison, public opinion is once again on her side. Most of the comments are sympathetic to Chuna, but I am being mercilessly cursed. My private messages are filled with insults. I took a screenshot and sent it to Tran Hien, asking him to immediately clarify. He only replied sorry he couldn't. After all, she was his girlfriend now. I gave him a chance, but he didn't want it. So, I posted all the evidence of my affair online. Intimate photos, explicit chats, not a single word was left out. Chun Xian's assistant Xiaolin was the first to comment and confirm. I am the assistant from the south. I confirm that everything is true. Chun Xian and Chuna have officially lost their reputations. Chuna deleted her account again and withdrew from social media. But this time, netizens did not forgive her so easily. They dug up her past, digging up all sorts of dirty things. She had been a multi-timing fisherman, always clinging to married men, and had been exposed by her own wife and ex-boyfriend. Everything was posted online, from the recording, sensitive messages to even uncensored nude photos. Chuna is really famous. Netizens call her a professional mistress. The person being attacked shifted from me to her. Friends sent screenshots of the news excitedly saying so, gloating. But I didn't feel gloating at all. The man I once loved so much chose that kind of woman. I suddenly felt that I was also terrible. Tu Lam continued to update me on Tran Hien's situation. She said that after Tran Hien found out about Chuna's scandalous past, he went crazy and immediately asked to break up. But Chuna refused and came to the company every day to make tea, which eventually led to his dismissal. The affair turned out to be a lie, and it only took a few days. The next time I met Tran Hien, he was standing in the hallway in front of the apartment I rented. His whole body was stiff, his eyes were sunken, he looked like a soulless murderer. Wife, his voice was hoarse, his eyes were full of pleading. I'm sorry, I miss you so much. He opened his arms to hug me. I took a step back, avoiding him. I broke up with Chuna. He hurriedly explained he didn't love her at all. The person he loved was still me. Let's go back, okay? Before I could reply, footsteps sounded behind me, fan. Tanfong didn't know when he was standing at the top of the stairs, carrying 2 bags of fruit. His eyes glanced at Tran Hien. Then he walked over to stand next to me, silently forming a protective wall. Mr. Tran, please respect my girlfriend. Tran Hien's expression collapsed in an instant. He opened his mouth, but in the end he couldn't say anything, turning around and staggering away. Waiting until his back disappeared from the hallway, I quietly backed away from my position next to Tanfong and thanked him. A flash of disappointment appeared in Tanfong's eyes, but he quickly smiled, saying it was nothing. He was silent for a moment, then suddenly gathered his courage to say, how about, give me a chance. I was still stunned, and he quickly continued, if you feel it's not okay, I will disappear immediately, and will absolutely not bother you. I looked at the man who was both nervous and waiting, finally nodded slightly, okay. The sunset light through the hallway window, shining a layer of gentle, warm light on his shoulders. That's the end of the story. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more interesting stories. Goodbye and see you again.